Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Hope and Coffee. I'm Hope, and this is Gingy, my actually teacup for tonight, but he will hold coffee one day soon, and it may be tomorrow. But today, he has a little bit of peppermint tea because we are enjoying this slightly fall weather as we are probably about maybe low 60s at the moment. He came from Target, if you're wondering. He is really cute, and I think I need to get the little corgi mug that also kind of coordinates with him. But anyway, this particular episode is going to kind of talk a little bit about Netflix new show, Fall of the House of Usher. And I am a big Edgar Allan Poe fan. I have loved his works for many years. And when Netflix was kind of rolling this show out, I had already seen a lot of Mike Flanagan's work with this particular cast and crew. Love the cinematography of it, love the darkness, the gothicness, love the murder and the mystery and all the squiffy little things that make it so, for me, enjoyable to watch on a Netflix kind of miniseries. Anyway, Fall of the House of Usher was originally a short story written by Edgar Allan Poe, and it was originally written in or around September of 1839. And it is in the realm of Gothic horror. So you get the vibe already from the show that you're walking into that sort of situation. I'm going to try not to give just a ton of spoilers about the show because I would love if you go out there and watch it for yourself. But what I'm going to try to do is kind of give a little bit of backstory on the short story as well as how some of it kind of intertwines with the show itself. So the short story has an unnamed narrator who visits Roderick Usher after receiving a letter. And it's kind of revealed that Roderick, I am having such a time with some of these names, but anyway, we are going to make this through. Roderick and his sister are the last two members of the Usher family left. And Roderick believes the house to be alive and that his fate is connected to this mansion in some way. Now, to look back to look at the show, we very first episode we encounter I think it's Auguste Dupin, who is the DA, who has been trying to go after the Usher family for quite some time due to not only some past conflict, but the fact that they've also seems to be getting away with a lot of things that they probably shouldn't be getting away with. And Auguste Dupin is he's a very much a go-getter, but he also seems to have a bit of a history with Roderick. And that is sort of revealed throughout the story and throughout the show. But we get a name in the show, whereas in the book, in the short story, we don't have a name. So Dupin, the DA, goes to the house where Roderick Usher is, and he comes up to it, and it's very decrepit. It's old. It looks like it's about to fall down. Roderick is sitting in the living room, and this place is very much probably not safe. Probably should be condemned. There seems to be holes and cracks, and there's really only two chairs for these two guys to sit in and talk. And Roderick Usher has called the DA in order to confess what he says are his crimes. So that way, Dupin is a little more, I guess, satisfied with his pursuit of justice, but Roderick is also able to more or less get all of this off of his, get it all out and kind of admit to the things that he has done over the course of the years. Well, so they sit down, and that's how the story kind of unfolds. These two men are across from each other, and Roderick is telling the story of pretty much the collapse of his house. And we start by learning that he had 6 kids from 5 different wives, and at this time, at the very beginning of episode 1, we learn that all of these children have already passed. Now, most of them, most if not, they were all adult age, and of legal adulting age, and so none of them were children in that right of being like young or underage. But Roderick blames himself, and so we don't really understand how, because Dupin is adamant. He's like, I've seen the crime scenes, and I don't know how you could have been like at fault for these their demise. Well, the story kind of goes on, and in the short story, Roderick later tells or informs the narrator that Madeline has died, and Roderick also wants to like entomb her for 2 weeks. And this is the short story, not the show, but in the short story, the narrator and Usher, Roderick Usher, take her down, entomb her, and as they're like Roderick and the narrator are having drinks and kind of like bemoaning the loss of Madeline, the bedroom door is blown open, revealing Madeline, who is only suffering a catatonic sort of death like trance, and the narrator flees in horror as the house splits in two and collapses into the lake. Well, that's how the short story ends. But the show has a little bit of a different sort of collapsing situation, as each of these children have like slowly have their own demise, and they slowly go crazy, and they slowly like things start to happen. But it's so very well done, because each of them has their own demons that they have to face. Each of them is almost responsible for their own demise as well, except for one particular character, and I will let that be up to you to go and figure that out. But the show is so incredibly well done. I actually got my mom to watch it. I said, "Hey, Mom, I really think you'd like this show. It's only about 7 or 8 episodes, but I think once you watch it, like once you watch the first one, you are going to be addicted." And I think she ended up watching the entire series in about 3 days, and she was texting me all about it. And I knew that she was going to love it, because she loves that sort of gothic-y horror. But it's also a little psychological as well. Now, I love the fact that there were a lot of different references to other aspects of Poe's life. The name Eliza comes from Poe's birth mother, who died when he was 2, and that is also the name that Mike Flanagan gave Roderick and Madeline's mother in the show. And another brick in the wall is a song that plays, and it automatically kind of alludes to or foreshadows sort of the cast of Amontillado, which is another Poe story that we also like get references to later on. I believe there's actually an entire episode called A Cast of Amontillado. There's one called A Telltale Heart, and The Black Cat, and The Pit and the Pendulum, I believe. So we get a lot of different other Poe works. We have a character named Annabelle. Annabelle, I don't think she's called Annabelle Lee, but she's called Annabelle. And then there is Lenore, and a lot of the naming is also very Poe-esque and references to other works of his as well. I highly recommend, if you like gothic horror in any way, to please give this show a chance, because I think you would be riveted. Now, I will preface that it does have some gory bits. It's going to be a little bit vulgar, and there are some trigger warnings, so please just be aware of that, and you're able to find those online. But honestly, the show as a whole, incredibly well done. I loved it. I would probably rewatch it all over again, even knowing what's going to happen, because it was just so captivating to me. And I'll probably go back and watch some of other Mike Flanagan's work, such as Haunting of Hill House, or Blythe Manor, or even Midnight Mass, I believe is one of them as well. But anyway, those are just some of my thoughts on The Fall of the House of Usher, both the short story and the Netflix series that just recently came out. And I hope to see your comments down below, and let me know what you think about it. I'll see you on the next page. Have a great one.